Now that your images are picture perfect, we'll need to publish those photos to a particular destination. I'll show you how to get them social media ready, get the best image output for a high quality print, or prepare it for your next YouTube video. The goal of this chapter is learning to use the most appropriate settings when exporting your content, so no matter where your content is on display, it will look great. In the previous model, we learned how to resize images for different output destination. This image will be posted on a website, so we need to export it to the proper file format. When preparing images for the web and other online media, you often need to compromise between image display quality and the file size of the image. You can use the optimization features in the Save for Web and Devices dialog box to preview optimized images in different file formats and with different file attributes. You can view multiple versions of an image simultaneously and modify optimization settings as you preview the image to select the best combination of settings for your needs. You can also specify transparency and matting, select options to control dithering, and resize the image to specified pixel dimensions or a specified percentage of the original size. When you save an optimized file using the Save for Web and Devices command, you can choose to generate an HTML file for the image. This file contains all the necessary information to display your image in a web browser. First, we navigate to File, Export, Save for Web, Legacy. Second, we select an optimized file format. In this case, we're going to choose JPEG since this is a photograph with a lot of gradation. We learned about JPEG in a previous chapter. Third, we'll select a compression quality, either through a preset or the quality slider. Fourth, we'll check to make sure that our image size is appropriate. If not, then we'll change it. In the Save for Web and Devices dialog box, you can resize an image to specified pixel dimensions or to a percentage of the original size. A quick side note, while there are other settings we can access, we're just going to focus on the basic settings. Next, we'll click Save and choose our destination folder. We've now successfully saved an image for the web. I'm going to show you how to easily print your photo from Photoshop to your desktop printer because unless you work in a commercial printing company or service bureau, you probably print images to a desktop printer such as an inkjet, dye sublimation, or laser printer, not to an image setter. Photoshop lets you control how your image is printed. A quick side note before we get started. If your image is in RGB mode, do not convert the document to CMYK mode when printing to a desktop printer. Work entirely in RGB mode. As a rule, desktop printers are configured to accept RGB data and use internal software to convert to CMYK. If you send CMYK data, most desktop printers apply a conversion anyway with unpredictable results. So, let's get started. From the menu, select File, Print to access the Print dialog box. First, from the Printer Setup section, I'll select the printer I'm going to print this photograph. Since I want to print to the Epson SureColor P800 printer connected to my computer, I'll select the Epson SureColor printer from the Printer pop-up menu. Second, click Print Settings to choose the paper size we'd like to print to. I pre-selected 8.5 by 11 paper size. Third, for layout, we'll select the print orientation, portrait or landscape. In this case, I selected portrait because my photo is in portrait orientation. Fourth, from the color management section, we will choose color handling. I always select Let Photoshop determine printed colors because when I use a custom color profile for a specific printer, ink, and paper combination, letting Photoshop manage colors often produces better results than letting the printer manage colors. Remember, if you use this option, it's important to disable the printer's color management in the Print Settings dialog box. Photoshop even politely reminds you of this. There's also an option for Let Printer Print Colors. This is for when you don't have a custom profile for your printer and paper type, and you want the printer driver to handle the color conversion. For Printer Profile, select the profile that best matches your output device and paper type. If there are any profiles associated with the current printer, they will be used. In this example, I selected the UltraPro Satin 4.0 printer profile because I'm printing to the UltraPro Satin photographic paper. If I wanted to print to matte paper, then I would choose the appropriate matte paper profile from this list. For rendering intent, it's fine that we leave this in the default setting of relative color metric. Rendering intents are beyond the scope of this video. Next, I scroll down to position and size. I make sure that center is checked, and because my photograph is larger than the paper size, for scaled print size, I select Scale to Fit Media so my photograph won't be cropped. Finally, click Print, and soon your file will be printed in all of its amazing glory. We'd like to use this Shamrock in a video presentation we're creating in Premiere Pro. If we save it as a JPEG, we will lose the transparency, so instead, we will save it as a PNG. We learned more about PNG in a previous chapter. We'll use almost the exact same method for exporting this that we did when we saved the photograph for the web. File, Export, Save for Web Legacy. However, we'll select 24-bit PNG and select Transparency. Hit Save, and we now have a file that we can import into our video project. In this chapter, we learned how to use the most appropriate settings when exporting our content to various outputs. Now join us in Module 4, where Erica will lead you through reconstructing and remixing.